The movie begins with Shuri desperately trying to find a cure for her brother Chala's mysterious and fatal illness by attempting to recreate the heart-shaped herb. Despite nearly succeeding, her efforts are cut short when her mother, Queen Ramonda, delivers the devastating news of Chala's death. Shuri is left heartbroken, feeling that while she has the ability to solve any problem, she failed to save her brother. The entire nation of Wakanda mourns the loss of their beloved king. Dressed in white ceremonial attire, the people gather to bid T'Challa farewell. Shuri, overcome with grief, watches as a flying ship arrives to carry her brother's sarcophagus away. A year later, Ramonda attends a United Nations meeting. During the session, the Secretary General expresses dissatisfaction with Wakanda's refusal to share vibranium, their most precious and powerful metal, to address global challenges. A French representative accuses Wakanda of using vibranium to create weapons of mass destruction, citing its unique ability to remain undetected by metal detectors. Ramonda responds with dignity and strength, rejecting the accusations. She emphasizes that Wakanda's long-standing policy of refusing to trade vibranium is not due to the metal's potential dangers, but rather the dangers posed by those seeking to exploit it. She recounts a recent incident in which a Wakandan communications center was attacked by French-speaking mercenaries attempting to steal vibranium. Thanks to the Dora Milaje, the elite, bald-headed female warriors of Wakanda, the attackers were thwarted. To expose the perpetrators, Ramonda announces that intelligence revealing the orchestrators of the attack has been sent to the smartphones of all assembly members. The French representative grows visibly tense as the Dora Milaje escort the captured mercenaries into the room and force them to kneel. Ramonda declares that Wakanda will show mercy this time, but warns that any further aggression will be met with retaliation. Meanwhile, in the Atlantic Ocean, a CIA team uses a vibranium detector to search for deposits underwater. Two divers discover a glowing blue mineral, revealing vibranium in the ocean. As they attempt to secure the detector, they are attacked by an unknown underwater creature. On board the ship, the crew hears an eerie, hypnotic song that compels them to jump overboard. The officers, equipped with earplugs, manage to board a helicopter but are pursued by blue-skinned humanoids emerging from the water. A flying man with winged ankles intercepts the helicopter, effortlessly spinning the 5-ton aircraft and hurling it into the ocean. Back in Wakanda, Ramonda finds Shuri hard at work. When asked if she has succeeded in restoring the heart-shaped herb, Shuri dismisses the idea, arguing that modern technology offers better solutions than ancient traditions. Instead, she focuses on creating advanced armor for the Dora Milaje. Ramonda takes Shuri to the ocean shore to observe an old Wakandan tradition, burning their mourning garments on the anniversary of Chala's death. As they talk, Shuri admits that if she gave in to her emotions, her grief might drive her to burn the world to the ground. Just as Ramonda begins to reveal a secret about T'Challa, a mysterious man with wings on his ankles emerges from the water. The winged stranger introduces himself, saying, "My people call me Kukulkan, but my enemies call me Namor." He praises the beauty of Wakanda in a friendly manner, but warns that American forces have discovered vibranium at the bottom of the ocean within his people's territory. His presence sets the stage for a tense interaction, with Namor poised as both a threat and a potential ally to Wakanda. The Americans use a specialized vibranium detector created by a young scientist, and Namor confronts Queen Ramonda about this development. Ramonda, speaking with authority, dismisses Namor's concerns, asserting that vibranium only exists here in Wakanda. Namor corrects her, explaining that after T'Challa revealed vibranium's existence to the world, nations scrambled to find it, and they are now encroaching on his underwater kingdom. Since Wakanda failed to keep vibranium a secret, Namor demands their assistance in locating and delivering the scientist who invented the detector. "It is only fair that Wakanda helps to resolve our dilemma," he states. Ramonda retorts sharply, "You do not sneak into my country and tell me what is fair." Namor, unfazed, warns them of the might of his people, claiming he has more warriors than there are blades of grass in Wakanda. To facilitate their cooperation, he gives them a conch-shaped flute, explaining it can summon him instantly when they locate the scientist. Before leaving, Namor warns them not to reveal his existence to anyone, then dives back into the water, disappearing as mysteriously as he arrived. After his departure, Ramonda and Shuri notice the vibranium detector lying near their campfire, marveling at Namor's ability to bring it there unnoticed. Ramonda convenes a council to discuss their next steps. During the meeting, M'Baku accuses the guards of failing to prevent Namor's intrusion, while the elders express fear of facing an enemy with vibranium, especially without the Black Panther. The consensus among the elders is to hand over the scientist to avoid provoking Namor's wrath. Ramonda refuses to yield to fear and sends General Okoye on a mission to America to retrieve the scientist. Okoye requests to take Shuri with her, promising to protect her. Despite her initial hesitation, Ramonda reluctantly agrees. The next day in Virginia, Everett Ross, humorously referred to as Bilbo Baggins, is on his morning jog, listening to Red Hot Chili Peppers, when he meets Shuri. Ross informs her that the CIA blames Wakanda for the attack on the Atlantic ship and warns that the U.S. plans to capture the scientist who invented the vibranium detector. Ross identifies the scientist as Riri Williams, an MIT student, and explains that she is the only person capable of building another detector. Shuri and Okoye head to Riri's dormitory to convince her to come to Wakanda. Initially, Riri denies building a vibranium detector for the CIA, claiming it was just a school project for a metallurgy class. However, when she learns that Namor, a winged, half-naked man from the ocean, is after her, Riri reluctantly agrees to leave. Before departing, they visit her garage to retrieve designs and equipment. Among her impressive creations is an armored suit built using Stark technology, as well as her late father's Ferrari. Their plans are interrupted when the FBI surrounds the building. The trio makes their escape separately. Okoye drives the Ferrari, Shuri takes a motorcycle, and Riri uses her Iron Man-like suit to take flight. While in the air, Riri disables a surveillance drone but loses consciousness due to oxygen depletion, plummeting toward the water. In a heart-stopping moment, she regains consciousness just in time and resumes her flight. The drone crashes onto police vehicles, clearing the way for the others. As they flee, Riri is ensnared by a cable, sending her crashing onto the road. Shuri and Okoye are thrown off course by an aquabomb explosion, leaving Shuri unconscious. Emerging from the water on a killer whale, Namor's blue-skinned warriors engage in battle. General Okoye fights valiantly, taking down 3 warriors before facing the Talokan general. The general orders his warriors to deal with the arriving police officers, who surprisingly follow his commands without hesitation. In the heat of battle, the Talokan general overpowers Okoye, hurling her into the water with another aquabomb explosion. Namor's forces secure their victory. Shuri regains consciousness in captivity and, after revealing her identity as the Princess of Wakanda, demands an audience with Namor. The water dwellers agree and escort both Shuri and Riri to their underwater kingdom. The next morning, Everett Ross arrives at the crime scene where Shuri and Riri were taken. There, he meets his ex-wife, Valentina Allegra de Fontaine, now the CIA director. Valentina believes Wakanda is behind the attacks, but Ross secretly pockets Shuri's smart beads to maintain communication with her. Meanwhile, Okoye returns to Wakanda to report the events, lamenting, "I struck down 3 of them with blows that should have killed them, but they rose again." She pleads to be sent on another mission to rescue the princess, but Queen Ramonda, overcome with anger and grief, strips Okoye of her title as general and discharges her from duty. Despite the elders' attempts to counsel patience, Ramonda stands firm, making an example of Okoye. Ramonda visits Shuri's lab and uses the smart beads to contact Ross. He shares that the CIA suspects Wakanda's involvement, but Ramonda, bound by Namor's demand for secrecy, refrains from revealing anything about the underwater kingdom of Talokan. Cryptically, she tells Ross, "I am afraid there is a new world power at play." Ramonda then travels to Haiti to seek the help of Nakia, who now runs a local school. Knowing Nakia's skills as a former spy, Ramonda asks her to find and rescue Shuri. Nakia begins her search in Mexico, where she finds a woman who claims to have encountered Namor. The woman tells Nakia where Namor emerges from the water, giving her a crucial lead. Meanwhile, in an underwater cave, Shuri is given traditional Maya attire and fruits as a gesture of hospitality. Namor personally introduces himself and gives her a bracelet that once belonged to his mother. He shares the history of his people. In 1571, on the Yucatan Peninsula, local tribes ravaged by hunger and smallpox sought healing through sacred rituals. A shaman discovered a mystical flower, and the tribe consumed a potion made from it, including Namor's pregnant mother. While the potion saved them, it transformed them. They lost the ability to breathe air and were forced to live in the ocean. Namor was born underwater with unique abilities. Winged feet that allow him to fly and the ability to breathe both air and water. After his mother's death, her dying wish was to be buried on land. When Namor and his people returned to fulfill her request, they found their ancestral lands plundered and their people enslaved. Enraged, the ocean dwellers eradicated the invaders. A dying Spanish priest referred to Namor as El Niño Sin Amor, the child without love, a name he adopted to reflect his disdain for the surface world. Namor refuses to release Riri, fearing the risk she poses to his people. Shuri requests to see his kingdom, and Namor agrees, warning of the dangers of the ocean depths. Shuri dons a specialized suit, and together they descend into Talokan, the underwater realm. Shuri is amazed by its beauty, marveling at the city illuminated by vibranium-powered lights and the vibrant life it sustains. Namor tells her, "I brought the sun to my people. Now you see what I have to protect." Meanwhile, Nakia prepares for the rescue mission, tracking the signal from Shuri's earrings to a cave 140 meters deep. Ramonda plans to use Namor's flute to lure him out, ensuring Shuri's rescue during the distraction. Nakia asks, "How would you like me to proceed?" Ramonda replies decisively, "Retrieve the princess by any means necessary." As Shuri and Namor continue their conversation, he reveals that his mother's bracelet is crafted from the same plant that transformed his people. Namor proposes an alliance, arguing that the surface world's relentless pursuit of vibranium threatens both Talokan and Wakanda. He insists that their peoples unite to destroy the surface world before it destroys them. Shuri resists, refusing to condone the violence and determined to protect Riri. Without an alliance, Namor warns, he will have no choice but to attack Wakanda as well. Upon hearing the call of his flute, Namor departs, but not before addressing Shuri. "I heard you at the river with your mother. You said you wanted to burn the world. Let us burn it together." Later, Namor informs Queen Ramonda that Shuri is safe and in Talokan of her own free will. However, Ramonda, driven by desperation and anger, insists on going to Talokan herself. When Namor refuses any negotiation, Ramonda threatens to expose the existence of his underwater civilization to the Americans. Namor's composure snaps, and he delivers a chilling ultimatum. "If you tell the Americans about us, if you try to find us, or if I discover a single Wakandan ship in the ocean, I will kill the princess. I will come to Wakanda, find you, and kill you." Meanwhile, Nakia infiltrates the cave where Shuri and Riri are being held. She eliminates the guards and finds Shuri attempting to save a wounded Talokan subject. Despite Shuri's protests, Nakia persuades her to escape quickly, knowing the risk of remaining any longer. Shuri and Riri are successfully rescued, and Ramonda embraces her daughter in relief. However, Shuri fails to mention that their actions have essentially declared war on Talokan. When Namor returns to the cave and discovers the dying subject, he is enraged. The survivor reveals that Wakandans infiltrated Talokan, provoking Namor to gather his forces for an invasion of Wakanda. Back in Wakanda, Nakia and Okoye discuss the aftermath of their mission, but their conversation is cut short by a sudden flood, a precursor to the Talokan assault. The ensuing battle between Wakanda and Talokan is fierce, with both sides suffering heavy losses. Shuri, piloting a flying ship, attempts to attack Namor but finds him too fast, especially in the water. Namor eventually infiltrates the palace, where he uses aqua bombs to flood the throne room. Though Queen Ramonda manages to save Riri, she sacrifices her own life in the process. When Shuri arrives, she finds her mother's lifeless body. Namor declares that the throne now belongs to her and advises her to make the right decisions before departing. Wakanda mourns once more as Ramonda's funeral is held. Meanwhile, in the US, Valentina Allegra de Fontaine arrests Everett Ross for leaking information to the Wakandans. She reveals that the vibranium beads he had were bugged before he even took them to Wakanda. Ross defends his actions, asserting, "The Wakandans saved my life. They're good people." Valentina counters, "Have you ever considered what we would do if the US were the only country with vibranium?" Back in Wakanda, Shuri creates armor for the Dora Milaje while Riri develops her own suit, rivaling Tony Stark's technology. Shuri uses plant cells from Namor's bracelet and combines them with T'Challa's DNA to recreate the sacred heart-shaped herb. Drinking the potion, she enters a vision, hoping to meet her ancestors. To her shock and disappointment, she encounters Killmonger. He tells her they are alike, driven by anger and vengeance, and urges her to embrace her inner fire. Upon awakening, Shuri refuses to disclose her vision to anyone and angrily declares that her ancestors have abandoned her. However, her newfound strength is evident as she strikes a training dummy with enough force to send it flying. At a council meeting, she dons the Black Panther suit, making a dramatic entrance by landing from a flying ship. Her people celebrate the return of their protector as she rallies the warriors for a decisive battle. Shuri devises a plan to weaken Namor by dehydrating him, exploiting his dependence on water. The Wakandans set a trap by emitting a fake vibranium detector signal. When Namor and his warriors respond, a massive battle unfolds on a ship and in the ocean. Riri, in her Ironheart suit, engages Namor in aerial combat and manages to shoot him down. A Wakandan ship catches him mid-fall, and Shuri joins him on board. Using microwaves, the ship begins dehydrating Namor, weakening him significantly. The ship crashes in the desert, and Shuri continues the fight on land. During the intense battle, Shuri clips Namor's winged ankles, preventing him from returning to the ocean. Namor retaliates by impaling Shuri with a spear, but her suit heals the wound, allowing her to continue. Activating the ship's thrusters, Shuri scorches Namor, leaving him severely burned and incapacitated. As Shuri prepares to deliver the final blow, she experiences a vision of her mother. Ramonda's spirit appeals to her compassion and urges her to show mercy. Inspired, Shuri spares Namor's life and offers peace. Meanwhile, aboard the Wakandan warship, Talokan warriors have the Wakandans cornered. At the sight of Shuri and Namor arriving together, Namor orders his warriors to retreat. The survivors of the battle safely return to their homes. Shuri, determined to honor her brother's memory, recreates the Garden of Sacred Flowers, ensuring the Black Panther legacy endures. As a gesture of gratitude, she gifts Riri her father's restored Ferrari, encouraging the young genius to continue her innovations. Namor speaks with his sister, assuring her that Talokan will not attack the surface world. Instead, Wakanda and Talokan have formed an alliance. Meanwhile, Everett Ross is being transported to a detention facility for his actions in aiding Wakanda. Okoye intercepts the convoy, attacking the vehicle and freeing him. Shuri travels to Haiti to visit Nakia. During her visit, Nakia introduces Shuri to her son, who is revealed to be T'Challa's child, making him Shuri's nephew. Shuri smiles, deeply moved by the realization that her brother's legacy lives on in the young boy.